On today's show, does Jason Kidd hate the troops? No, the Dallas Mavericks make a comeback win against the Orlando Magic. We'll tell you how they made the comeback, how it almost went wrong, and more on today's Locked On Mavs.
Doncic, and this is Locked On Mavericks podcast.
Mavericks, NBA champions. Bang! Bang! It's good, and the Mavericks have won the game.
If you don't believe, you shouldn't be here.
Loyalty never fades away.
And welcome. You are locked on to the Dallas Mavericks. My name is Nick Angstadt, media member and NBA channel manager of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Thanks for being part of the show and making Locked On Mavs your first listen today. The best way you can help us grow the show is to listen every day, leave a 5-star review, like the video, and comment anything below. Let me know in the comment section what's one thing that stood out to you in this game. How did the Mavericks get the win? Let me know in the comment section. And joining me, as always, on the postgame prodigy. What you got for me, Slightly Biased?
Just enjoying this roller coaster ride, except not really enjoying it, but I'm on it.
As we let it ride. That's right, letting it ride. I'm here at the American Airlines Center. The Mavs got the win against the Magic. Luka and Tim Hardaway combined for 80 points. An insane output from those two. Just absolutely wild, insane. Great to see it. You love to see it. Lively and Hardy also with some young gun contributions to this game. We'll break it all down. We'll talk about what it means for the Mavs going forward. How did the Mavs get the comeback win? And that's where we'll start right here slightly. The Mavs, 7 and some change left in the third quarter. They're down 14 points. And the Magic were shooting the greatest three-point shooting game I've ever seen. Definitely the greatest one that they've played this season. They had one where they shot like 60% from three. It was like an overtime game earlier this year against the Kings. That was a wild game. But this Orlando Magic team is not a good three-point shooting team. They're not. They're literally the worst three-point shooting team in the league as far as percentage. They are the fifth lowest in terms of the amount of three-point shots that they take. And it was wild to see the Mavs give up that many open shots and for them to make that many open shots. And so they found themselves down 14 points. It just felt like the Mavericks weren't going to find a way to win this game. We've seen this script play over and over again, but slightly, how did they make a comeback and get the win?
They went to a zone, and usually their zone defense this year has been a travesty. But, man, it was really good in the third quarter. They were flying around. They were communicating well. They were forcing turnovers. They were limiting the amount of open shots that the Magic got. I feel like They do this from time to time whenever they go up against a bad shooting team or players that you're kind of okay with shooting where, all right, we're just not even going to guard them. And then they let these guys get red hot. And then, it's an NBA player. Once these guys see shots go in and they get hot, then it's go time. That's what happened with Anthony Black. But
and Anthony Black, who played at Duncanville, had his whole former team and the guys that play for Duncanville over sitting in the section right next to me. They were screaming every time he had a shot. A couple people came over and hey, you see those guys at Duncanville? There's 3 of them. They're going to make the NBA.
Really?
Yeah. And yeah, it's just him coming back to the hometown, got that hometown bump and buzz. And what did he start? 4 of 5, 4 of 4?
No, he was 6 of 6 or something. Oh, from 3, I don't know. But he started the game from 6 or 6 or something like that.
Yeah, he started 4 of 4, and he only took 4. I mean, that was it. That was the only the only threes that he took at that point. So the Mavs, the Magic's 3-point shooting wasn't going to last. They're going to have to find another way to create offense, to score buckets, and they got a couple of threes here and there. But the second half 3-point barrage was not the same. They were able to get some more stuff done, in the paint and all that. But man, the Mavs just kind of stuck to their guns a little bit, and then played the law of averages in this one, and the averages were going to say, all right, at some point, Tim is going to have a good game, and obviously, almost every game, Luka's going to have a good game, and man, they just went off in that third quarter. That was amazing to watch.
Yeah, no, like you said, they did stick to their guns because, they went to that zone, which can get picked apart from time to time against good shooting teams, and they just said, all right, you guys aren't going to rain threes on us like this the whole game, and they ended up being right, at least in that third quarter where the Magic went 2 of 6, so they only shot 6 threes in that entire quarter. But yeah, Luka, Tim, just in the second half alone, Luka's stat line is just hilarious. 26 points, 10 assists, 7 rebounds. That's just a really good game right there. That was in the second half.
In the third, he had 12, 5, and 5. And I was like, how many players would just love to have a 12, 5, and 5 game in the NBA? There's 200 players probably that haven't had one of those in their career.
You're making like $16 million a year if you average that, honestly.
Yeah, 12, 5, and 5. Yeah, that's like the almost the yeah.
It's like Aaron Gordon.
Yeah, you're like a backup guard that is doing pretty well and like can fill it up a little bit here and there. Maybe you can't shoot, but like you can put it on the deck. And I mean, I guess that's what Jalen Suggs is probably doing on the Magic, right?
Yeah, he's probably going to make, I don't know, around $20 million a year if I had to guess, maybe.
He's doing pretty well. Luka got that stat line in the third quarter. I'll have to admit though, I affected the outcome of the Mavs game again. I've been doing this too much this season. At halftime, a Locked On Mavs listener came up to me at the game and said, if you had to trade one player, who would you want to trade? Like, who do you want off this team? And I said I want Tim Hardaway Jr. off the team.
Oh, man.
I was like, I'm done. I'm done with the Tim Hardaway Jr. experience. And he goes, okay, bet. And then he walked away, goes down to his seat. And then Tim goes off, and he outscores the Magic by himself in the third quarter, 15-12. He scores 15 points in the third quarter. And I was like, I anti-jinx Tim Hardaway Jr., but man, him just going off, like it's one of those things. It's the maddening thing about this Mavericks team. It's the reason why yesterday Reggie and I do the episode, all right, what are the problems with the Mavs? And then on games like this, Slightly and I will do the, all right, how fun are the Mavs? It's like you just go from swing to swing. It just depends on what Tim Hardaway Jr. you get, right? I was sharing the stats yesterday about how wild the swings are when the Mavs get good Tim Hardaway Jr. and bad. And just three-point shooting, when Tim shoots over 30% from three, over 30%. 30% is not even like league average. That's actually bad. 30%.
Yeah,
but
30 is bad.
He just shoots over 30%. So it just means he just makes some of them. They are now, after this game, 19-10. If he shoots under 30%, meaning he's just terrible, can't hit a three, whatever, they're 4-8. It really does affect their team that much, and like that's just not a cherry pick stat that I looked at. I really do think that stat like affects the Mavericks because his 3-point shooting leads to a lot of other stuff. Then you're not scrambling back on defense on the other end. Those long threes always end up being transition opportunities on the other side. The Mavs have a bad transition defense. Like it just rises and falls in their 3-point shots.
Yeah, that's what we talked about all year on here. If this is the way that they're built, they need Tim Hardaway Jr. Now, the thing is, if you trade him, it has to shift how you play basketball. Because the way that they currently play basketball, which is we're going to bomb away threes, and if we're making threes, we're going to be really difficult to beat. Because then when the game slows down, we can get buckets in other ways. So, I mean, it is just a hilarious and frustrating sort of way to live. Because even if you look at it's no secret, they haven't been playing great lately. Their wins lately tonight, Luka and Tim Hardaway Jr. combined to score, what'd you say, 80? Their 81. Last win before that, Luka scores 73. Their win before that, Kyrie and Tim both score over 40. Their win before that, Kyrie and Tim combined to score nearly 80. Like, this is not a sustainable way to win basketball games. It's cool when it happens, but that's why they've been struggling lately, is because this is what they need to do to win games.
And we're just seeing how it's being stretched right now. Like just that's what they needed to get this win. They needed Luka to go for 41. They needed the 36 from Tim Hardaway Jr. They also got 20 basically all in the first half from Hardy. They got 20 from Lively too. Like they just need a couple guys to go off every night. But then they absolutely need the two top scorers to be really, really good because you're just not getting contributions from everyone else. And like their third best players are not scorers necessarily, whether it's Lively or Dereck Jones Jr. sometimes or Exum sometimes or Grant Williams the other night. Like there just aren't these guys that could ever put up 30 for you in a game.
No, but see, here's the thing though. When Exum when everyone's healthy, Exum being like your fourth scorer is not bad. Right. You could do worse. And the reality is if this team doesn't get healthy, they're in a lot of trouble. And I don't know what's going on. You know, there's the fingers and the toes. It's just that's the season. Whenever the season ends, and they make the season long, do they even do that stuff anymore? Like the season documentaries of the team. It should be the title should be 10 fingers, 10 toes down. The Dallas story, the Dallas Mavericks. Except not.
Are there doctors that are finger specialists, like an ear, nose, and throat doctor? Can we just get
there are the digit doctors?
Digit doctors. Yeah, we need a digit doctor for the Mavericks because man, it just seems like every day it feels like there's something with that. And Kyrie's out again for this one. They're basically missing 3 starters, right? Kyrie, Dereck Jones Jr., and Exum would all start if they were all healthy. And so Yeah, I'll take this as a good win. The Magic have not been playing that well either, but you'll take this as a good win. The Mavs get a comeback win. So coming up, let's talk about how they got there. Let's break down the game a little bit, and then we'll talk about Lively and Jaden Hardy. Just amazing contributions. We'll talk about them and more coming up. Today's episode is brought to you by Quiz. Go check out Quiz with 3 I's, Quiiiz. I was not trying to do the Taco Bell dog there. Go check out Quiz, where you can answer questions about the NBA and you can win actual money. Go see it for yourself. I've been checking it out. Our Locked On Clippers host has been texting me about it all day. He's like, this is amazing. I'm up so much money. Nobody can beat me in this game. Every NBA question, I'm on it. He just loves it. So if you love the NBA as much as I do, as much as Darian does on Locked On Clippers, you're going to love Quiz. Go check it out, app.quiz.com. And again, it's Quiz with 3 I's, app.quiz.com. And you can answer questions and win money. There's some free ones. I've been doing some free ones, and you win like $1 here, $1 there, and eventually it adds up for you. You deposit some money, and then you can, boom, win some big money if you are good at answering questions, not just about the NBA, about anything across movies, general knowledge, a whole bunch of stuff. So go to app.quiz.com, test your knowledge, and win cash. That's Quiz with 3 I's, just like a three-pointer. I have to think about that one a little bit. Play now, showcase your skills, and take home cash prizes. App.quiz.com, where fans become champions. Thanks, everybody, for hanging out with us on Locked On Mavs, being part of the show, part of the Raccoon Squad, listening every day. We appreciate each and every one of you. I'm here live at the American Airlines Center, where I just watched the Dallas Mavericks get a win against the Orlando Magic. A good win. How that comeback felt so great. I love a game like that, where it's close down the stretch. It's the Seats for Soldiers night here, and so you can see some of them. If you're watching on YouTube, you can still see some of them on the court there, hanging out. They got to talk to a bunch of the players. Dereck Jones Jr. was walking around shaking hands. They've got other guys signing stuff, and the Maniacs are out there. It's just super fun. Looks like Maxey is walking through right now. It's just a fun night where the American Airlines flies a bunch of soldiers, wounded veterans, and a lot of people that are in our military. And the people that all have the courtside seats give up all their seats. And so it's not just like it's like a collective thing where those people give up their seats and then the soldiers take them, and then there's a whole bunch of military people in the first row. There's always just so much energy in the arena too. That's the thing, is like there's just a different level of energy because there's like fans in the front row, and it's not just like the really rich people that can afford it. And so there is just like a different energy about it. And the Mavs always show out. I think I saw Mavs PR tweet out that the Mavs are now 15-2 on Seats for Soldiers Night. There's just some kind of like magic about it in the arena, and it's a special thing. But yeah, the Mavs got the win for them, even though it was tight and close, and I was very, very worried for a while. Slightly.
That's probably the most scared any of those troops have ever been, if we're just being honest, watching Jason Kidd operate down the stretch of that game.
Several of them have like really bad injuries. I'm like,
okay, well maybe not them.
No.
Hey, I have some former veteran friends who didn't do anything but sweep the floor. Now, if I'm just being honest,
now probably some of them did that, but I don't know if that guy in the sling was just sweeping floors. I've got questions about it.
True, man, it gets dangerous. But I mean, that's an interesting stat. Did you say 13-2?
15-2. They've done it for I think now like 16 or 17.
Is it one of those things where it's like school scheduling homecoming, where it's like, all right, we need to get a win here? Magic.
You're playing the team down there that doesn't have any All-Americans.
Yeah. No, my high school, my senior year, if you're the live in the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex, Allen High School, back when they were at the peak of their powers and Kyler Murray was there, decided to be a good idea to do our homecoming in that game, and it didn't go well. So that was fun.
Playing against Kyler Murray?
Yeah.
Who was like an NFL quarterback and made like a huge contract, and
their whole team was stupidly stacked.
Man, come down to the end. There's a couple of things I want to talk about with the end of this game. You had, I think, a couple key things. The Mavs were actually getting some foul calls. They really worked the refs early in this game. Jason Kidd was working refs when Luka wasn't getting calls. Luka, it felt like the first 4 or 5 times he touched the ball, he tried to get some kind of foul call. And he does this every game. Like we see this from Luka every single game, where he just tries to get those body contact fouls, and he tries to just gauge, am I getting these foul calls today or not? And if I am going to get them, I'm going to just keep spamming that over and over again. If I'm not going to get them, I'm probably still going to spam it over and over, but maybe not as frequent as I would. And so he just felt like he was trying to feel it out. He wasn't getting calls that he wanted. Jason Kidd was working refs. Mark Cuban came out during a timeout and was like working this group of refs over and over again. Minority owner of the Mavericks, Mark Cuban, was doing that. So thanks for his contribution to this game. And then it felt like in the second half, I mean, the Mavs took 43 free throws. I felt like to me eventually that paid off.
Yeah, and I think part of it too that we do have to mention is Jonathan Isaac, I guess, was on a minute restriction in this game. So he plays in the first half and is getting the Luka assignment, is doing a really good job on Luka. Like Luka, like you said, was trying to draw those body fouls and stuff, and he was not getting the calls early on. And credit to Jonathan Isaac because he was doing a really good job on him. And Jonathan Isaac in this game was a plus 15 and didn't play the entire second half.
Yeah, really. I reached out to Philip Rossman-Reich of Locked On Magic about that. I was like, what's the deal? And they said their plan was to play him 8 minutes and then to take him out and not play him again because he's always coming back from an injury. He's coming back now. He's only played over 20 minutes twice this season at all. And he still hasn't played like 10 straight games or even like I think 5 or 6 straight games yet. And so he's like, they're just kind of getting him back in. This is the second night of a back-to-back for the Magic. And so I didn't think he was going to play. I was surprised that he was going to play in this one and that they put him in the starting lineup. It was a smart call by Jamal Mosley, former Mavs assistant, who's the coach of the Magic now. It was a smart call by him because I thought Isaac did guard Luka pretty well. He only got him on that one like frustration foul basically where Luka was just like doing a fake and eventually got him off his feet. But yeah, I thought Isaac did a good job. I'm seeing some people say this. If Isaac had played the whole game, the Mavs don't win that game. That's one of those what ifs that you just can never know because I don't know what he gives you on offense.
Plus 15. But it is what if. We don't really know.
No, we don't. We don't know. But he definitely was making an impact early, and so that was different. And then the Mavericks, they did get, the advantage by they played Anthony Blackmore, and he started hitting threes, and then they had to play, you had to play Suggs, I guess, a little bit more. Banchero and Franz obviously played a lot, but the end of this game, it comes down to the free throws. It was just back and forth free throws between the two. Lively had that weird play where he was fouled under the rim, and he got something I had never heard of: 4 free throws to make 3.
Yeah,
because it was the rare like he got fouled. They were in the bonus, which was the thing I've been mentioning is that they got fouled early. They were in the bonus. It was a flagrant one. It was like this big combo where he had the opportunity to basically take 4 free throws in a row. When does anyone ever get to do that?
Yeah, that was an interesting little tidbit there. I've heard 2 to make 3 when there's like an and one. Right. I've seen those happen before. I don't know how many times I've seen a 3 to make 4 situation. This was like a college basketball game in the last 2.5 minutes took 45 minutes to finish. There were so many reviews. There were so many free throws. Can we just talk about? Okay, so we're talking about free throws, right?
Yeah.
The Mavericks tried everything in their power to lose this game after it felt like they had it wrapped up and secured. Tim Hardaway Jr. turns the ball over. They're up 4, I think, at that time. Or no, they're up 3 and have the ball, chance to make free throws and pretty much ice the game. With 17 seconds left is when Tim turned that ball over. It was a travel. That was not Tim's fault.
I was going to say, Tim got caught in the corner. It's his fault that he picked up his foot. Like, let's be clear.
The timeout should have been called 7 seconds before that. Tim gets the ball in the corner. Timeout. No.
In the comment section, I want to know, in the chat and in the comment section, is it Tim's fault or Jason Kidd's fault? Because I think there's definitely...
You already know the answer to that question.
That's very true. If there's a blame pie, I think it's probably 50-50 down, in reality, what it was. But yeah,
Tim was screaming to call a timeout. Luka was screaming to call the timeout.
Yeah, and I don't know why Kidd made that decision or not make that decision to take that timeout. They ended up needing both of them at the end though, because they couldn't inbound one time, and then they needed another one with some time. But yeah, Luka got a couple of free throws. He had that huge alley-oop dunk to Lively with 36 seconds left to go up 6. And coming up, let's talk about Lively and Hardy because I think that they made huge impacts on this game. Hardy's will get not as noticed because it was early, but Lively played 40 minutes. Played his ass off. We got to talk about him and more coming up. Today's episode is brought to you by Betterhelp. Betterhelp will save your life possibly because everyone needs to work through things, to talk through things, to have somebody, a therapist, to work on life's big problems. Everyone's got something. you've got something. If there's something in your life that you just have this anxiety about, that you're like, I don't want to speak this. I had something recently I was embarrassed to talk about with anyone, my family, my friends, anybody, Isaac even. I didn't want to talk to him about it. And I went to my therapist online, and I just said, hey, I want to talk about this thing. I'm embarrassed by it, but here it is. And it helped me so much. So if you or someone you know is thinking about therapy and wanting to try BetterHelp, because it's entirely online, designed to be convenient, flexible, suited to your schedule. Just fill out a brief questionnaire to get matched with a licensed therapist and switch therapists at any time for no additional charge. Celebrate the progress that you've made already. Visit betterhelp.com/LockedOnNBA to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/LockedOn. Again, please check out BetterHelp if you want someone to talk to, if you need someone to talk to. Check out betterhelp.com/LockedOn. Also, today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. FanDuel Sportsbook has all kinds of props and odds to check out this Super Bowl. The number one sportsbook in America. They're happy to celebrate the Super Bowl. Chiefs versus the 49ers got the double red. The logo theory did not work out. But if you're like me, Super Bowl Sunday is all about scoring the best seat on the couch, grabbing your favorite football and snacks, and placing some super bets. Go check out the Parlay Hub. They have all kinds of fun stuff where if you don't want to build a parlay yourself, that's like a bet based on another bet, based on another bet, based on another bet. It's fun to have all those things together because you win more money off of those, but then also you're watching a bunch of different things to see if they happen. And so makes you more invested. It's more fun that way. FanDuel has so many ways for you to end the season with a W or 2 or 3, not just NFL. They've got NBA as well. New customers today will get $200 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet or more wins. Go check it out. FanDuel.com/LockedOn. Make every moment more with FanDuel, an official partner of the NFL. All right, Slightly. I want to talk about Dereck Lively and Jaden Hardy because, man, let's start with Hardy first because he had, I thought, a really great, maybe his best half, maybe his best game of the season so far. Just attacking at the first half of the game. He had 4 threes in this one. It just felt like a very different Hardy. We've been talking about him for almost, I feel like, weeks now, that he felt scared to dribble the ball. And against maybe the best perimeter defensive team the Mavs have faced in the last couple of weeks, he just starts driving on Jalen Suggs and driving here and there. And I was like, where did this confidence come from Hardy? It just reminded me, this guy is really talented and special. It's the decision making, and it's like the confidence that he needs to get. And if he gets that right, then he can be a player.
That might have been one of the best games of his entire career, all things considered. I think.
Wow.
I mean, he had some high scoring games last year. Like he scored that 29 points against the Jazz. That was right after the Kyrie trade when him and Josh Green both went off.
Oh, right. Yeah. That
was probably scoring wise his most impressive game. But he was moving the ball around tonight, and I really liked a lot of his plays, just driving and kicking and finding open guys, dumping some off to Lively. Like those two had a really nice connection. Yeah, 7 assists. And how many of those were in the first half? The first half of the game, he had 18 points and 4 assists. When the Mavericks really desperately needed some offensive punch, Hardy was there. It was a -1 in a game where the Mavericks were down big at halftime. I don't remember the exact score. It was something like 16 or something like that.
Yeah.
Jaden Hardy was really good. And that's what you wanted to see from him. He was knocking down his threes early, his catch and shoot threes, and he had his first 2 of the game. I wonder if that's what sort of sparked things for him. Opened everything else up.
He got 2 right corner threes like in a row. When it was in the first quarter?
Yeah.
He got 2 in a row where he just nailed them. The Mavs came back because they went down 11 at the 7-minute mark, and by the 5:30 mark they were only down by 3 because Hardy just hit both of those threes in a row, exact same spot. And like when you get that kind of rhythm, I feel like that's maybe where his confidence comes from, is made shots, and just that he's getting shots and he's not and not being afraid. But yeah, I thought that was a good Hardy game, and like you're getting some of these games from guys. You got a Grant Williams game, now you got a Hardy game, and like you just need one of these games from one of these guys every once in a while. The problem is a lot of the role players have been hurt a lot of the time, and so you don't have the probabilities go down. There's just not as many role players to choose from. Lively, though, let's end with him because holy cow, how great is it to have a real center on the Mavericks? Played 40 minutes, 20 points, 11 boards, 3 offensive boards. Only 1 counted block shot, but he had altered a lot of shots, and then a steal. He missed some free throws at the end. He was 4 of 9, but still, man, just to have a big guy center and to have the biggest guy on the court, it was just so reassuring.
Yeah, the Mavericks ended up tying the Magic with rebounds, which when you look at the starting fives for both teams, kind of felt improbable and impossible.
Yeah.
But a lot of that had to do with Lively. It's funny too, because this is 2 games in a row for Lively where first half it's like, okay, Lively, it feels like Lively's kind of having a tough one. He did have 12 points and 5 boards, but I don't know. It just didn't feel like he was having that great of a game in the first half of this one. And then in the second half, I mean, he really turned it on. I felt like he had 8 points, 6 rebounds, had some huge plays down the stretch.
Yeah.
He was huge in this game for them and played really good defense too in that third quarter.
Luka just came onto the court. All the soldiers from Seats for Soldiers still there. Lively's right there. Have I told the story on the podcast about when I was in New Orleans? Do you remember I took that trip to New Orleans?
Uh-huh.
This is so random, but I just saw Lively and it made me think of it. We're talking about Lively, me and Jake, and he like just walks in front of me and sits down and just like
just
and
listens.
Like, he was not like intentionally, but he sat down and I was like talking right at him, but at the camera.
That's awkward.
It was one of the weirder experiences I've had.
Were you like maybe criticizing a little bit? It's like, yeah, Lively needs a hit, and then he sits down. You're like, well, actually, he blocked a few shots, and that really turned it around.
Yeah, so if you only listen to the podcast, you heard my voice cringe a little bit, and then you heard me completely change my point after that Pelicans game. That was what it was.
That's hilarious.
No, well, but wait. Yeah, they're all out there with the with the soldiers signing autographs and stuff. It's just a cool night. Yeah,
well, shout out to the troops, man. I'm happy they got. That's a great game to be at too. And there was a notable. I mean, granted, that third quarter was crazy. It did feel like there was a noticeable like the game just the crowd felt way more into it. Because that's a problem I have with the American Airlines Center sometimes. The crowds can feel like they're out of it from time to time. When it gets loud in there, though.
Yeah, like they take after this team though. That's the thing. Like I don't blame them because they ride with the highs and then they fall with the lows too. Where they're like, oh, it just doesn't feel like this team has it today, and so they're not going to bring it if the team's not going to bring it. Basically, like it's just
So I know a lot of you listeners go to the games. When Luka's at the free throw line, there needs to be a drowning, like you're drowning in the MVP chance. Come on, guys.
Yeah.
We got to get this out the mud. Embiid's not playing 65 games. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is my favorite non-Maverick in the world. I can't live with him getting an MVP before Luka. I can't have it.
Oh, that would be brutal.
Yeah. Well, can we – wait, I actually have a question that I would love to hear your input on and would love to hear everyone else's.
Go for it.
So, Mavs up 3.
Yeah.
8 seconds left. They intentionally fouled in the backcourt.
Oh, yeah.
In my opinion, that is way too much time to be fouling. I want to know what you think because there's different schools of thought on this.
The problem is the Mavs defense is not good enough, and they had been giving up so many threes. And what did the Magic? The Magic shot 47% from 3. It's like that's the worst case scenario is you give up a 3 on the other end. And
but see, in my opinion,
hold on. I gotta lean in real quick. And Jason Kidd thinks that Tim Hardaway Jr. is a positive defender and puts him out there in defensive situations, and that's a liability for the Mavericks. You give up a 3. You just will. And so I understand fouling up 3.
Okay, but let's look at it from it. So the Magic 37% from 3. And my thing is they went to the zone in the third quarter. They said, you know what, their threes are going to stop going in at this clip. So just keep playing our game.
They only shoot 34% as a team.
And the Mavericks shot 69% at the free throw line in the second half.
Nice.
So I'm thinking like you're really putting a lot of pressure on Luka, who was cold-blooded, hit those 4 huge free throws that he did have. I don't know. It's just I thought it was risky with 8 seconds left. I think you just play. And then if an opportunity presents itself, like Luka hit the 2 free throws and then the Magic came back down and they got fouled again with 3 seconds left, I think that's a much better that is a comfortable time to foul because then you're just saying we have to rebound the missed free throw. That's all we have to do and we win the game. And of course, the Mavericks didn't do that. And Franz Wagner put up a shot that I thought was going in the moment he let it go. And it was going to be the most disastrous loss.
I was sitting next to EA from the ticket, and I swear he had a heart attack. Like, I thought he was going to pass out. I thought we were going to have to call the medic to come over and help him because he thought it was going into from our angle. Like, from my angle where I sit, it was literally right down the barrel of the shot. Like me and the basket and him are like all in a line.
Yeah, the broadcast angle it looked good, but then they showed the replay. It did side rim pretty bad, but it was so I don't know. 8 seconds left. I feel like it's too much time in my opinion when you're putting so much pressure on a free throw shooting team that's not very good to make free throws. But the Magic burned the last.
You put it in the hands of Luka, man. Like you have a confidence that you can just get away with anything. He covers a multitude of sins.
Okay. He did go 18-21 times.
He is the game plan. The coach said that 2 days ago.
Well, the game plan has historically not been a great free throw shooter.
He's the game plan.
But he was cold-blooded tonight.
He knocked him down tonight.
He did knock him down tonight. So you do have to give it. That's where Kyrie changes everything for you, right? Because Kyrie's like, just give him the ball in the fourth quarter with free throws.
That's right. Well,
but
Kyrie changes everything in a bunch of different ways.
Yeah. Hopefully he's back soon, man. This is one of these brutal ones.
It's tough. It's tough. He's only played 10 straight games one time with the Mavs so far. But do you know when the last time Jonathan Isaac has played 10 straight games?
Is there a compare? Like, wait, why are we comparing? I want to say I'm out on Jonathan Isaac from a trade perspective because, like, he just. I don't want a guy have to play 8 minutes in a game.
This is why I brought it up because I preemptively tweeted about this earlier today because I knew I was going to get a bunch of tweets about him and about a bunch of comments like, why don't we just trade for Jonathan Isaac? We literally got one yesterday, a trade for Jonathan Isaac. And I was like, guys, the last time he played 10 straight games in the NBA was before COVID. It was 2019.
Not a real time. We're in a different reality now.
Just 10 straight games, not like a month.
That was before we fell into the portal.
That was before we knew anything about what he thinks.
True. Wait, but I want to say about the trading for Jonathan Isaac.
Did not kneel for the troops, by the way.
I forgot about that whole saga. What the Jonathan Isaac trade thing, I want to say you got to look at both sides when it comes to trades. The Magic trading him now makes no sense. Like you've waited this out for 4 years, and now he's finally playing and doing things for you. I'd be like, actually, you know what? Yeah, we will trade him for a couple seconds.
Yeah, right. No, not going to happen. So there you go. Let us know in the comment section what's one thing that stood out to you. Why did the Mavericks win this game? Guys, thanks so much for listening to Locked On Mavs. Peace out. Boom.